Truth is ever to be found in the simplicity, and not in the multiplicity and confusion of things. Issac Newton. This quote, often attributed to Issac Newton, suggests that truth resides in simplicity rather than in complexity or chaos. The idea is that fundamental truths are straightforward and can be obscured by overcomplication or an excess of information. Newton, who made profound contributions to science and mathematics, often sought to describe the laws of nature with elegant and concise explanations. His work exemplified the principle that the most powerful truths are those that can be stated simply and applied universally. In a broader philosophical context, this sentiment echoes the principle of Occam's razor, which advises that when presented with competing hypotheses about the same prediction, one should select the solution with the fewest assumptions. It implies that simplicity is more likely to be true and accurate than a complex and convoluted system. This perspective can be applied in various fields beyond physical science, suggesting that in life, business, relationships, and personal development, a search for simplicity can often lead to more profound, actionable, and meaningful truths. No great discovery was ever made without a bold guess. Issac Newton. This quote, which can also be attributed to Issac Newton, speaks to the innovative spirit of scientific inquiry and the broader process of discovery. Newton himself made some of the most significant discoveries in physics by making bold, imaginative leaps based on the evidence available to him. A bold guess, often called a hypothesis in scientific terms, is a necessary step in the scientific method. It is the precursor to experimentation and further inquiry. Without the willingness to venture beyond the currently accepted knowledge and to hypothesize what might be, scientific progress would stall. This idea celebrates risk-taking and imagination as essential components of breakthroughs. It acknowledges that while methodical research and empirical data are crucial, there is also a need for intuition, creativity, and the courage to propose new ideas that may initially seem unconventional or speculative. The quote also serves as an encouragement to embrace the unknown and to be comfortable with uncertainty, as many of the greatest advancements in human understanding have begun with a guess, a question, or a wonder that challenged the status quo and ventured into uncharted territory.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more valuable quotes from the legends.
If I have ever made any valuable discoveries, it has been due more to patient attention than to any other talent. Issac Newton. Issac Newton's admission here highlights the virtue of patience and the integral role of careful observation and persistence in the process of discovery. Newton, whose discoveries laid the groundwork for classical mechanics and universal gravitation, is often remembered for his immense intellectual capabilities. However, with this quote, he suggests that these discoveries were not simply the product of raw talent or genius, but were also significantly attributed to the diligent and sustained effort he applied to his work. Patient attention implies a willingness to spend long periods of time dedicated to study and observation, meticulously analyzing and experimenting before reaching conclusions. It speaks to the importance of perseverance and resilience in the face of complex problems and the necessity of enduring through trials and errors to achieve significant results. In essence, Newton emphasizes that the process of uncovering new knowledge or making valuable discoveries is not just a moment of epiphany, but often a laborious journey requiring sustained focus and dedication. A message that resonates with anyone striving to achieve mastery or innovation in their field. If I have seen farther than others, it is because I was standing on the shoulders of giants. Issac Newton. This famous statement by Issac Newton is a humble acknowledgement of the contributions of those who came before him. Despite his own monumental achievements, Newton understood that his work was built upon the foundations laid by earlier scholars and thinkers. The giants refer to the great minds of history whose ideas and discoveries formed the bedrock upon which Newton and others could advance human knowledge. By saying he was standing on the shoulders of giants, Newton implies that his ability to see farther or to understand more deeply was not solely due to his personal brilliance, but was made possible by the accumulated wisdom and knowledge of his predecessors. This metaphor highlights the cumulative nature of scientific progress and the importance of recognizing and valuing the collective effort involved in the advancement of understanding and innovation. This quote continues to be invoked in discussions about progress and creativity to express respect for the collaborative continuum of discovery and to remind us that every new achievement is part of a larger tapestry of human endeavor. It encourages us to appreciate the past and to contribute to the future, understanding that our work will one day serve as a foundation for the next generation of giants. To every action there is always an equal and opposite or contrary reaction. Issac Newton. Newton's third law of motion states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. This means that forces always come in pairs. If one object pushes on another, the second object pushes back just as hard. Live your life as an exclamation rather than an explanation. Issac Newton. The quote, "Live your life as an exclamation rather than an explanation," is not actually one of Issac Newton's. Its true origin is uncertain, but it is often attributed to various authors and motivational speakers. The sentiment behind the quote encourages a bold, passionate approach to life, suggesting that one should live vibrantly and enthusiastically, making statements through actions and presence, rather than spending one's time justifying or rationalizing every choice or circumstance. The exclamation here symbolizes a life lived with zest and conviction, where actions are decisive and full of purpose, as opposed to an explanation, which suggests a more passive, analytical, or defensive posture towards life's unfolding events. The underlying message is to embrace life actively and confidently, to create and seize opportunities, and to engage with the world in a way that is assertive and affirmative. If others would think as hard as I did, then they would get similar results. Issac Newton. This quote attributed to Issac Newton reflects his belief in the power of dedicated thought and intense intellectual effort as the keys to achieving breakthroughs and understanding complex concepts. Newton is acknowledging that his accomplishments were not just due to innate genius, but were also the result of extremely hard work and deep contemplation. It's an encouragement to others that the same level of success is attainable if they are willing to apply themselves with equal rigor and determination. Newton's statement is a testament to the value of perseverance, focus, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. It implies that exceptional outcomes are not merely the domain of those with extraordinary talent, but can be achieved by anyone willing to put in the necessary work. To explain all nature is too difficult a task for any one man or even for any one age. 'Tis much better to do a little with certainty, and leave the rest for others that come after you, than to explain all things by conjecture without making sure of anything. Issac Newton. This quote by Issac Newton acknowledges the vastness of the natural world and the limitations of individual and collective human capacity to fully understand it within a single lifetime or era. Newton is recognizing the incremental nature of scientific progress and the importance of building a reliable body of knowledge over time. By advocating for a careful, methodical approach to science, Newton is emphasizing the value of certainty and verifiable knowledge over speculative or unproven ideas. He suggests that it's more productive to contribute a small but solid piece to the puzzle of understanding the universe rather than attempting to solve the entire puzzle with guesses and without evidence. This perspective is a reminder of the humility and patience required in scientific inquiry and research. It also highlights the collaborative nature of scientific discovery, where each generation builds upon the work of those who came before, gradually expanding the frontiers of knowledge. What goes up must come down. Isaac Newton. The phrase "what goes up must come down" is a colloquial simplification often used to describe the effect of gravity and is commonly attributed to the influence of Isaac Newton's work on gravitation. Although these exact words are not found in Newton's writings, the sentiment reflects the basic principle of Newton's law of universal gravitation, which he detailed in his work Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica. Newton's law states that every particle attracts every other particle in the universe with a force that is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between their centers. This law explains why, on Earth, objects that are lifted will fall back down when released. Earth's mass exerts an attractive force on the object, pulling it toward the center of the planet. Thus, the phrase captures the inevitable influence of gravity on objects on Earth. Without continued force to keep an object aloft, gravity will cause it to descend. I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself I seem to have been only like a boy playing on the seashore, and diverting myself in now and then finding a smoother pebble or a prettier shell than ordinary, whilst the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me. Isaac Newton. This introspective quote from Isaac Newton reveals his sense of wonder and humility despite his monumental contributions to science. Newton likens himself to a boy on the seashore, engrossed in the simple pleasure of finding pebbles and shells, which symbolize the discoveries and inventions he made during his lifetime. Despite these findings, he acknowledges the vastness of the unknown, comparing it to the great ocean of truth that remains all undiscovered before him. The quote reflects Newton's awareness of the limitations of his knowledge and the boundless possibilities for discovery that still existed. It underscores a philosophical and almost poetic perspective on the pursuit of knowledge, that no matter how much we learn or achieve, there is always far more that we do not know. This sentiment is a testament to the enduring nature of scientific exploration, where each discovery leads to new questions and mysteries, and where the quest for understanding is an infinite journey. Tact is the knack of making a point without making an enemy. Isaac Newton. This quote, commonly attributed to Isaac Newton, speaks to the social skill of tact, the ability to communicate effectively and sensitively without causing offense or antagonism. While there is some debate over whether this quote can be directly traced back to Newton himself, the sentiment it conveys is widely appreciated and remains relevant. Tact involves thoughtfulness, diplomacy, and the consideration of others' feelings and perspectives. It's about knowing what to say, how to say it, and when to say it, or when to remain silent. This skill is particularly valuable in discussions, negotiations, and whenever delicate matters are addressed. The essence of the quote is that it's possible to be persuasive and assertive while still maintaining positive relationships, and that doing so is a valuable and nuanced art. The ability to navigate complex social interactions without creating conflict is a hallmark of personal and professional success. A man may imagine things that are false, but he can only understand things that are true. This statement by Issac Newton reflects on the nature of human imagination and understanding. Newton is drawing a distinction between the creative capacity of the mind to conceive of all manner of ideas, regardless of their truth, and the intellectual ability to truly comprehend something, which is grounded in the reality of what is true. In other words, while our imagination is boundless and can entertain any number of fantasies or falsehoods, our understanding is anchored to what is actually the case in the world. Understanding, in this context, is tied to the objective reality and the truths that describe it. This concept is fundamental to the empirical approach of science, where understanding is built upon observable, testable, and repeatable phenomena. The quote highlights the importance of discerning truth from fiction, a crucial skill in the scientific method, which seeks to systematically investigate the world to determine how it actually works. It speaks to Newton's dedication to the pursuit of knowledge that can be verified and understood, rather than merely speculated upon.